Okay, work comp, change.
Work comp has asked us to pass a couple of policies. And the one is on page 7, it's a very simple seatbelt policy. You know, of course, it's state law that everybody has to wear seatbelts. This would then make it a city policy that everyone in the city vehicle will need to wear their seatbelt. And just a recommendation after a requirement from the work comp company, and this is their sample policy.
You have to give any kind of what your disciplinary action is going to be, or what
Just, you know, our disciplinary action is stipulated within our handbooks.
Okay. So are you wanting to adopt a city policy that overrides the city code? Or the state code, or follow the state code? Because this policy doesn't follow the state code.
Okay.
And it's going to restrict your electric department and street department more than anybody else, because if they're in and out of their vehicle, going from job to job, and it's 25 mile an hour or less zone, they don't need to wear this. So if these guys are working and going a block, according to your policy, you're going to enforce them to put a seatbelt on.
Sure.
And I really don't think you need to override the state code. I mean, it's not going to hurt the rest of people, but it will affect your electric and your street guys. Why do you want a city policy that's going to try to override what the state code already says? I could see a policy following the state code, but the way this is written, it's not. You're going to restrict your electric and your street department guys.
And this is from the work comp. Have they looked at that?
Sure. They are in the midst of an initiative to have everybody utilize seatbelts.
So if we don't do this, is the city open to something?
Well, if we don't do it, you know, I'm sure their policy is going to be that there's no coverage or there's limitation.
It was out. Can we just incorporate?
I guess my question would be, what kind of enforcement are you going to want? And so if a citizen comes up and says, this street guy just went to a block down the street to the next job, he don't have his seatbelt on, are you going to require us to start issuing citations for city employees when they're doing something that the state code says they can do?
How could they issue tickets on their side?
Well, probably never, but what I'm saying is, why would you have a policy to allow something like that to happen? If you guys want to have that, that's fine, but I just think, why would you have something that's going to override? All it's doing is going to give some, you know what, an excuse to come up and complain about the city employee one more time.
Can you just write one? Yeah. Can you write one that says, in accordance with the state policy?
Basically the same thing, but not under 25 miles an hour. I mean, whatever. We just incorporate them to...
Well, in compliance with the state code already says.
You can write that in there instead of your language and see it already separate. Give us a time limit when you have to do this.
Pardon me?
You have a time limit when you have to do this.
Well, I've responded back that the council's going to be considering this policy, and that's all. But as far as that goes, you know, we can approve the policy in accordance with the state code, and we'll write it as such.
Did they send a letter with their recommendations?
It just says, approve this seatbelt policy, here's where you find it.
So you want to have
And just a question from your department head that was brought to me, that's what, it doesn't really affect me, but it will them.
Yeah.
So it's just a question they have.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No doubt about it.
You want to read that into it?
Yeah. So we need a motion here, or what do we need?
Yeah, motion to approve.
With those terms. Yeah. I think Tony made that.
Somebody want- You made the motion? Okay.
I guess I must have seconded it.
Okay.
Roll call.
Mark?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes. Return to work?
The other one is a return to work policy. And this is much more detailed than anything that we've had before on a return to work policy. But this does stipulate light duty, essentially, is is much more definitive about light duty. You know, we really implemented things in accordance with this policy as far as, you know, basically an injured employee can come back to work light duty. Really, we encourage that as much as possible. Light duty is based upon what type of functions that the doctors say that they can do. You know, so the doctor's restrictions, then light duty is tailored around that until it's time to be reevaluated by the doctor. And that's kind of how we've done this. This really mirrors that. But this also puts a couple of time limits on it. The first time limit was 60 days, I think, that you get this temporary assignment, not to exceed 3 months. And then you are reevaluated again after you've met your maximum medical recovery, and you get 90 days of what they call modified duty assignment. You know, if after that second 90 days you aren't able to do the job duties, this would say that you'd be subject to layoff.
And this is another one the insurance company wants.
Yeah, you know, and they do want a written policy in regard to return to work.
Well, I guess some question is about if an individual is off duty because of whatever might have happened, and he comes back to with restrictions. Let's say, for example, he has a 20-pound weight picking up, and for some reason he picks up 30 pounds, whatever might be the case. What does that, if the individual is not following his restrictions, what is the responsibility of the city when it comes to somebody not following? I guess what ramifications is it? Is there any at all or not?
I guess I don't really know the answer to that.
So if your doctor limits them, says don't lift anything more than 20 pounds, and they lift 30 pounds, and that causes them to go beyond the...
But, you know, my thought on that is that so long as the city has truly structured work that is within the work restrictions, and the employee goes outside of the work restrictions, you know, the city has still met all the requirements that we make.
But
If when the person gets re-injured, I have no doubt that it's another work now. I have no doubt about it.
even though he didn't meet his restriction, I guess to me it's a gray area that one of the things we do as a company, when we do have a return to work, for example, by the driver, and he can't push, pull, or do anything on the dock, but if he, you know, almost starts pulling something and pulls something else, then that kind of, I don't know what I'm going to say, voided or forfeits.
Waives his argument
Yeah.
that
His ability to get workers' comp, or his ability to continue on with the return to work program?
Right. Continue with return to work program. So, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know, like I said, that's just, that's a gray area.
Yeah.
It's just a gray area, and I guess I would like to have you ask that question to somebody.
And the employees at home.
Yeah, you know, because like I said, if, you know, guy's about ready to come back to work, picks up a 30-pound something, now he re-injures his back. Now, I guess that's just something on. Let's find out before we go right now.